I spent $10 million on a bride price to marry the goddess of my dreams. But right at the wedding venue, she tightly embraced her childhood crush, her precious white moonlight. Right when everyone was holding their breath waiting to watch me become the biggest joke of the century, the ultimate cuckold of love, I was the first one to start a slow clap. Wow. Charging forward for the sake of true love, such commendable bravery. I highly suggest you two hold hands and go play in traffic together. At this moment on stage, Chloe Vance was facing the crowd with a pitiful, victimized expression, tearfully listing out my supposed crimes. Hearing and gossip from the guests below, I let out a deep, meaningful smirk. This was exactly the dramatic effect I wanted. Right on cue, Father Vance charged onto the stage from the audience, furiously scolding his daughter. "You ungrateful little brat. What kind of nonsense are you spouting, Arthur? Treats you like royalty. Do you even deserve him then?" Father Vance whipped his head around, slapping on a painfully forced, flattering smile. "My dear son-in-law, please don't take this to heart. Chloe had a little too much champagne. Whatever she's saying, just treat it like a vocal fart." Hearing this, I let out a cold chuckle. I glanced toward a dark corner of the banquet hall and pointed at Tristan. "Is that so? Then didn't your family invite that guy?" Richard Vance followed my gaze and spotted Tristan. His brain practically short-circuited. "Sir, please listen to my explanation." But before he could finish, Chloe dramatically grabbed the microphone and shrieked emotionally. "I invited him, so what? I love Tristan. Is that a crime?" I snorted. "Since you love him so much, why put him in the cheap seats near the restrooms? Bring him up here." Richard Vance caught the heavy sarcasm in my voice. Realizing the situation was going south fast, he tried to snatch the mic, but Chloe dodged him and dropped a bomb that made every guest's jaw hit the floor. "Today, I want to announce something. I, Chloe Vance, have only ever loved Tristan. He might not have a massive sugar daddy corporation behind him like the Sterling family, but he's built himself up from nothing to become an outstanding singer. He is more talented than Arthur. He works harder than Arthur. In my heart, Tristan is 100, no, 1,000 times the man Arthur is. Therefore, I want to marry Tristan." Hearing this, Richard Vance's face drained of all color. "Chloe, are you insane? What kind of garbage are you talking about yet?" Chloe continued screaming until her voice cracked. "It's this bastard Arthur who used the Sterling family's money and power to tear Tristan and me apart." The entire audience stared in stunned silence. The Sterling family had just injected $30 million into the Vance Corporation, literally dragging them back from the brink of bankruptcy. And here she was burning the bridge while still standing on it. The Vance family members in the crowd turned whiter than sheets. Is this brat out of her mind? If we offend the Sterlings, our family is toast. We just opened a new building material center. Does she want us to sleep on the streets? Right at that beautiful moment of chaos, I took the mic and addressed the crowd. Miss Vance's spirit of abandoning all logic and basic decency for love is truly inspiring. I sincerely wish the two of you a lifetime of being together so you don't ruin anyone else's lives." Hearing my words, Richard Vance's face turned the color of old paper. He scrambled to do damage control. "Arthur, my boy, it's not what you think. She's just joking. It's a prank." I cut him off cool as a cucumber. "No need to explain. You heard what she said. As her father, I'm sure you wouldn't want to force your precious daughter to marry a man she doesn't love, right?" Chloe looked at me utterly shocked. She never expected my attitude to flip so fast, let alone cancel the wedding on the spot. But then, a wave of sheer joy washed over her. This means I can finally be with Tristan. Officially drunk on her own delusion, she turned to her father. "Dad, why are you begging him? I don't have to marry him. The earth will still spin without Arthur Sterling." Smack! Richard Vance delivered a furious, resounding slap to her face. "Apologize to Mr. Sterling right now. Tell him you were just making a stupid joke." Holding her cheek, Chloe stubbornly yelled, "I want I am the master of my own marriage. I clapped my hands again, laughing. Exactly, charge forward for love. I wish you nothing but happiness. Saying that, I pulled out my phone and sent a single text message. Richard Vance froze. He grabbed my arm, practically wailing. No, Mr. Sterling, you can't do this. She was just joking. She actually loves you the most. This wedding cannot be canceled. The second he finished speaking, his phone rang. What? The Sterling Group is pulling all funding? His voice was so loud that everyone within a 10-foot radius heard it crystal clear. Finally, a sliver of panic crept onto Chloe's face. What is the meaning of this? Whether I like you or not is my business. Why are you taking your anger out on my family's company? You were the one who offered to invest in the first place. Do you have any business ethics? I looked at her, genuinely amused. You want to talk to me about business ethics? Sure, we can discuss it in court. Chloe was instantly rendered speechless. She stared at me, her expression a messy cocktail of confusion and panic. Seeing her mute, I continued. You're right. Whether you like me or not is your business. But whether I fund your failing family or not is my business. From this moment on, we have absolutely nothing to do with each other. With that, I turned and walked gracefully toward the exit. On my way out, I glanced at Tristan, who had spent the entire time cowering in the corner, not daring to stand up. Having lived 2 lives, I knew this loser's personality too well. In my past life, Tristan didn't dare stand up to accept Chloe's confession either. This life was no different. Chloe stared blankly at my retreating back, suddenly unsure how to end the dramatic play she started. She didn't like me, sure, but if she lost the Sterling Group's investment, her family's cash flow would snap instantly. She looked over at Tristan, who was currently doing a great impression of an ostrich burying its head in the sand. Tristan, why didn't you say anything? I threw everything away for you, and you didn't even say a single word. Are you even a man, Tristan? Stammered awkwardly Chloe. It's not that I don't want to, you know how it is. My management company has a strict no-dating clause. If I get fired over this, all our hard work will go down the drain. Faced with this totally logical excuse, what she didn't realize was that the moment I stepped out of that hotel, the entire Sterling Group sprang into action. We didn't just pull all investments from the Vance Corporation. We aggressively dumped all their stocks at any price. The result, the Vance family went into immediate cardiac arrest. Companies that used to kiss their feet suddenly flooded their phones demanding to cancel their contracts. Right now, inside the Vance family mansion, it was a symphony of wailing and crying. Chloe, you brain-dead idiot. Is your head filled with water? An uncle screamed. You don't want the heir of the Sterling Group, but you insist on marrying some third-rate karaoke singer. Do you know how much money my building materials center is about to lose? Richard, even though we're family, your daughter's stupidity just cost my household a fortune. How are you going to pay us back? Richard Vance could only swallow the bitter pill. He sat in silence, letting the relatives roast him alive. On the side, Margaret Vance, Chloe's mother, was so furious she wanted to kick her daughter out of the house. But facing the wrath of her entire extended family, Chloe maintained a look of arrogant indifference. She had graduated with a degree in financial management from a top university. She was absolutely confident she could single-handedly save her family from bankruptcy. Spoiler alert, she couldn't. Meanwhile, over at the Sterling household, the vibe was full of peace, love, and positivity. I walked right up to my parents and dropped to my knees with a thud. Mom, Dad, I was foolish before. I'm sorry for making you worry. In my previous life, because I was a massive simp chasing after Chloe, I fought with my parents constantly. We almost cut ties. Seeing me finally snap out of my delusion, the 2 elders were overjoyed. Henry Sterling laughed heartily. You little punk, I told you a long time ago that Vance girl wasn't worthy of you. If you want a wife, you have the pick of the litter in this whole city. I smiled faintly. Let's drop it. I'm not in the mood for romance right now. Tomorrow, I'm going to work at the company. reborn into this life armed with the knowledge of global economic trends for the next 8 years. Taking the Sterling Group to unprecedented heights would be a walk in the park. But more importantly, I wanted to drag out the shadowy figures who pushed my family into a deadly crisis in my past life. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Tristan thought the storm had passed, but lately, he noticed a car constantly tailing him. At first, he thought it was paparazzi trying to dig up some dirt. But looking closer, holy crap, it was a multi-million-dollar Pagani. What kind of paparazzi drives a Pagani? Tristan's paranoia spiked. As expected of the Sterling family, they want me dead. It made sense to him. The Sterlings were top-tier elites. In their eyes, a third-rate singer like him was basically an insect. Terrified, he immediately called Chloe for help. At this moment, Chloe was walking out of a jewelry store. Ever since the marriage alliance broke down, her family had been taking critical hits left and right. Aside from a few properties, they had to sell off shares in their subsidiaries at dirt-cheap prices just to pay the banks. To help her dad, Chloe even had to sell the imperial green jade necklace I once gifted her. Seeing Tristan's name on her phone, she hesitated but answered. Her tone, however, was icy. Yeah, what is it? I'm extremely busy. Lately, she had become the unfilial daughter despised by her whole family and mocked by society. Company affairs were frying her brain. Meanwhile, Tristan had completely ghosted her. Aside from a weak "Are you okay?" text the night of the canceled wedding, he hadn't initiated contact once. Naturally, she was annoyed. Tristan, driving while keeping a panicked eye on the Pagani in his rearview mirror, yelled, "Chloe, where are you? I need to see you right now." Chloe was about to refuse. "I think someone is trying to eat me alive. I'm coming to you right now. We'll talk in person." Tristan whipped his car around and sped toward the Vance Corporation headquarters. A few minutes later, he burst into Chloe's office looking like a hot mess. "Chloe, I haven't offended anyone recently except Arthur Sterling. He definitely wants to silence me permanently. Can you please go talk to him for me? Tell him I'll apologize." Chloe looked at the man she supposedly loved so deeply with a mix of doubt, disappointment. "It's not that serious, is it? I just spoke my truth. Why would he want to kill you? Besides, he doesn't even have that kind of power." Deep down, she was resisting the idea. Part of her was still mad that Tristan acted like a coward at the wedding, and another part of her simply didn't want to face me. Seeing her hesitate, Tristan hopped around like a cat on a hot tin roof. He grabbed her arm, pleading, "Chloe, please. I'm begging you. You know how powerful the Sterlings are. We completely humiliated them. Even if Arthur doesn't want me dead, his dad definitely does. Henry Sterling wasn't exactly known for being a softie. You don't become the richest man in the city by playing nice." Hearing this, Chloe finally connected the dots and cursed angrily. "That despicable bastard Arthur doesn't dare confront me directly, so he plays dirty behind my back. Is he even a man, Tristan?" Trembling like a leaf, urged her. "Who cares if he's a man or not, Chloe? Please figure something out. I don't want to end up in a ditch." Chloe was about to agree, but the thought of going to see me made her stomach churn. Sensing her reluctance, Tristan immediately pulled out the ultimate weapon, weaponized pity. "My life is hanging by a thread, Chloe. Do you not love me anymore?" Hearing this, Chloe's cheeks flushed. "Tristan, what are you saying? Of course I love you." Before she could finish, Tristan interrupted. "Then don't hesitate. Just go say a few sweet words to Arthur. Knowing his personality, he'll definitely let me go. Now that your wedding is canceled, we can finally be happy together." Unable to resist Tristan's sincere begging, Chloe nodded. She pulled out her phone and dialed my number. "Where are you? I want to talk." On the other end, my voice was perfectly calm. "I don't have time. If you have something to say it over the phone." Chloe was stunned. Before, whenever she wanted to meet, I would be thrilled. After a moment of silence, she pressed on. "It's not something we can discuss over the phone. I'll come to you." She hung up and looked at Tristan with a complex expression. Tristan knew what she was thinking and let out a dramatic, bitter sigh. Chloe, it's not that I didn't want to contact you. The incident caused such a huge uproar that my fan base exploded. My agency gave me a strict order to cut contact. I'm sorry. Seeing Chloe still looking at him with resentment, Tristan pulled her into his arms. Do you know I've missed you to death these past few days? I couldn't stop thinking about you. Chloe's face immediately softened into bashfulness. Anyone with a functioning brain could tell Tristan was just feeding her cheap lines, but Chloe swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. She rubbed her head against his shoulder and pouted. I missed you too. Do you know how stressed I've been? My parents and relatives are all blaming me. I was about to break down, and you didn't even send me a text. She lightly pounded his chest with her fists in a classic cringy romantic trope. Tristan chuckled, broke the hug, and hurried her along. All right, Chloe, go quickly. From now on, whenever I'm free, I'll text you. Even if I have to quit singing, I want to be with you. But first, deal with Arthur. Our safety is the most important thing. Appeased by his empty promises, Chloe nodded. Got it, Tristan. I'll go now. Remember to text me half an hour later. In the parking lot of New Century Plaza, Chloe had just parked her Bentley when a roaring red Porsche nearly smashed into her. Do you know how to drive? Chloe snapped, rolling down her window. But then she realized she knew the woman stepping out of the supercar. It was Penelope Quinn, the eldest daughter of the Quinn Group and formerly her best friend. Penelope smirked mockingly. If I remember correctly, the Vance family doesn't own New Century Plaza anymore. Right. Chloe didn't reply. Her eyes were glued to the imperial green jade necklace resting gracefully on Penelope's neck. Isn't that the exact necklace I sold this morning? Why is that necklace with you? Chloe demanded angrily. Arthur gave it to me, of course. Penelope sneered with maximum sarcasm. I really wonder which absolute idiot doesn't know their jewelry. Selling a $2 million imperial green jade piece for a measly $10,000. Talk about a prodigal daughter. What? It was worth $2 million. Chloe was dumbfounded. She knew nothing about jade and thought getting 10 grand was a huge win. She had literally thrown away 1.99 million yeep. Penelope continued to gloat. The jewelry store owner happens to be a client of the Sterling Group. He recognized it and returned it to Arthur. And Arthur, being the generous man he is, gave it to me. What a funny coincidence, right? Penelope playfully touched the necklace, looking absolutely thrilled. Meanwhile, Chloe's heart was bleeding. Her family desperately needed cash, and she had just flushed a fortune down the toilet. Refusing to admit her stupidity, Chloe scoffed. So what? It's just a second-hand item I've already worn. You're just picking up my trash. She was taking a jab at both the necklace and Penelope's relationship with me. Penelope was unfazed. Oh, honey, is your third-rate singer brand new in the box? I think we both know how messy the entertainment industry is. Need I say more? Shut up, Chloe hissed, her eyes turning ice-cold like a cat getting its tail stepped on. Penelope laughed. Arthur is a perfect man, yet you didn't know how to appreciate him. Instead, you chose a talentless nobody. I genuinely don't know if your eyes are broken or if you were just incurably stupid. But hey, it's better than you. You actually prefer collecting garbage. Not wanting to waste any more breath, Chloe stormed into the elevator. To her surprise, Penelope followed her in. Because there were other people in the elevator, they kept quiet. But when the doors opened, Chloe realized Penelope was still following her. Is she also here to see Arthur? Penelope ignored her, scanning the luxury restaurant until she spotted me sitting by the window, admiring the city skyline. Arthur, Penelope called out enthusiastically. Chloe watched in disbelief. He moved on that fast. So all his devotion to me before was completely fake. Thank God I found out early. Arthur, thank you so much for the necklace. I love it. Penelope practically threw herself into the seat next to me, leaning heavily against my arm. She grabbed the menu. Let me treat you today to say thanks. I replied coolly. Order whatever you want. I kept staring out the window, not even giving Penelope a second glance. Seeing that I hadn't even looked at her once, Chloe gritted her teeth. Penelope smirked, sticking closer to me like glue. She practically shoved her assets against my arm and whined. Arthur, I think someone is looking for you. You talk too much. Chloe snapped, glaring at Penelope before turning her hostile gaze to me. Arthur, what is the meaning of this? I came here to talk business, and you deliberately brought her here as a third wheel. Are you trying to make me jealous? Trying to prove you don't lack women? My face remained entirely neutral. I didn't even blink. Actually, Penelope made the reservation first. You call me afterward. I just figured I'd see you while I was eating. I couldn't even be bothered to explain further. Penelope giggled. You're absolutely right, Chloe. My Arthur certainly doesn't lack women. He can have any type he wants. But saying he's doing this to make you jealous, honey, you are delusional. Look at him. Does he even care that you're breathing the same air? Penelope, Chloe was practically malfunctioning from rage. Her defenses were entirely shattered because it was true. I hadn't looked at her a single time. Yet I was letting Penelope hang off me like an expensive accessory. You trash panda. Chloe cursed. Penelope rolled her eyes. If you have something to say, spit it out and get lost. Don't interrupt my romantic date with Arthur. Romantic date? Chloe suddenly realized the harsh truth. I was here on a date with Penelope. She only got to meet me by piggybacking on Penelope's time. In the past, if she called, I'd come running like an obedient dog. Now I wouldn't even look at her. And I was communicating with her through Penelope. Chloe forcefully swallowed her pride and demanded, Arthur, are you having someone tail Tristan? I finally pulled my gaze from the window and looked at her. My voice deadpan. If you're here to beg for your little boy toy, you can leave. Penelope, clearly enjoying the drama, mocked her. Wow, a mess. Vance, your family is on the verge of bankruptcy and you're still obsessing over that pretty boy loser. What? Is his singing going to magically fix your family's finances? Mind your own business, Chloe, snapped at Penelope, then turned back to me. If you dare lay a finger on Tristan, I will never forgive you. Penelope scoffed loudly. Ooh, and shaking. Who do you think you are talking to Arthur like that? Chloe fired back. And talking to Arthur, what does it have to do with you? Get out of the way. Penelope smirked triumphantly. Didn't you know Arthur has transferred all the resources and investments he used to give the Vance family over to the Quinn family? Oh, and that abandoned real estate project your family owned, we bought it for pennies. Once we develop it, we'll easily make $20 million in profit. Penelope, you opportunistic vulture. Penelope wasn't one to take insults lightly. She stood up and slap-struck Chloe right across the face. Penelope was half a head taller than Chloe, and she looked down at her with absolute disdain. Your family is finished, Chloe. Stop acting like some high and mighty princess. Arthur doesn't want to teach you a lesson because he thinks it'll dirty his hands. But I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I looked at the two women coldly. MS. Vance, are you done? You can leave now. Holding her stinging cheek, Chloe looked at us with venom in her eyes. Arthur, I'm warning you. If you touch Tristan, I'll make you pay. A homeless stray dog still barking this loudly. Pathetic. Penelope sneered. Chloe glared at me one last time before turning on her heel and storming out. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. How could he love me so much before and now treat me like garbage? He even gave my family's wealth to the Quinn family. Her phone rang. It was Tristan. Hello, Chloe. Did you talk to him? What did he say? Hearing his voice, Chloe exploded. Is your own skin all you care about? Why don't you ask if I'm okay? Do you know what I just went through? Tristan froze on the other line, then quickly switched his tone, chuckling nervously. He didn't do anything to you, did he? Frustrated and exhausted, Chloe summarized the encounter. He's busy hooking up with Penelope, but I don't think he's the one targeting you. I have other things to handle. But, wait, Chloe, if it's not Arthur, could it be his dad, Henry? Tristan was practically wetting his pants. Arthur might not want to silence me, but his dad is ruthless. Can't you just tell me to go hide out of town for a few days? The Sterlings aren't powerful enough to hunt me across the whole country, right? Chloe slammed the end call button and angrily threw her phone into her designer bag. She was starting to realize Tristan didn't care about her at all. Because of his paranoia, she had to lower her pride, got slapped by Penelope, and all he cared about was saving his own hide. Returning home, Margaret Vance rushed up to her. "Chloe, I heard you met with Arthur. How did it go? Did you apologize?" This hit a raw nerve. "Why should I apologize? I didn't do anything wrong, Mom. Please stop annoying me." Richard Vance's face darkened instantly. "You ungrateful wretch. Is that how you speak to your mother? If you hadn't thrown a tantrum at the wedding, would our family be in this mess?" Chloe's anger flared. "Is it a crime to speak my mind? I don't love him, so I don't clear's throat love him. I'm your daughter. Do you only care about family profits and not my lifelong happiness?" Seeing her completely unrepentant, Richard roared. "Did I spend all the money by myself? If I didn't think about family profits, how could you have lived like a spoiled princess your whole life?" The stress of the company had pushed him to the edge. He grabbed Chloe by the wrist and dragged her toward the door. "Go apologize to Arthur right now. If he doesn't forgive you, don't bother coming back to this house." Margaret quickly ran out of the kitchen to intervene. "Richard, stop. If she doesn't want to marry him, fine. Why push her into the fire?" Back when the Vance family was rich, they had 3 living maids. Now they couldn't afford one, and Margaret had to cook herself. Richard yelled, "If it wasn't for this brat, would you be cooking? Keep spoiling her. She's going to ruin us all." Though Margaret defended her daughter verbally, she felt equally frustrated. She pulled Chloe into her room to talk some sense into her. "Chloe, your dad is just stressed. Even if you don't love Arthur, the Sterling family can guarantee us a lifetime of luxury. I support you liking that singer boy, but what can he actually give you? Women can't just survive on love. We need bread and butter, too. You've dated Tristan for so long. Has he ever given you anything of actual value?" How could Chloe not understand this? By day, she dealt with corporate chaos. By evening, she begged for Tristan. At night, she got yelled at by her dad. Facing her mother's gentle logic, she finally broke down crying. "Mom, it hurts so much. I was stupid to think choosing love over money would work. You were right. Choosing someone who loves me gives me more." Margaret sighed. Chloe wiped her tears and sobbed. "But Arthur, he already has someone new. He even gave the imperial green jade necklace he bought for me to another woman. What's the point of apologizing now? He moved on that fast. Well, it's just a necklace. To Arthur, it's probably pocket change." Margaret rationalized. "But that necklace was worth $2 million. What? $2 million? Margaret nearly had a heart attack. "What are you standing there for? Go get it back." "Forget $2 million. Even 20,000 would solve a lot of our problems right now. Plus, Arthur gave it to you. You can't just give away a gifted item." Chloe looked extremely awkward and muttered, "Oh, I sold it." The jewelry store owner returned it to the Sterlings. "You sold it for how much?" Margaret pressed. "4 for 10,000. I didn't know the price of jade. The owner said it was only worth that much, so I agreed." Margaret's face turned black as coal. She couldn't hold back her scolding. "You absolute idiot. How did I raise you? You sold a $2 million heirloom for 10,000. You literally threw away 1.99 million. Chloe cried defensively. "How was I supposed to know it was that expensive? He never told me the price. I thought it was just a regular necklace." Looking at her foolish daughter, Margaret spoke with the bitter disappointment of someone whose team just lost the Super Bowl in the final second. "What am I going to do with you? Go make peace with Arthur. Even if you divorce him in a few years, the alimony from the Sterlings will keep you set for life. Isn't that better than suffering with that broke singer at the wedding?" Chloe had publicly humiliated the Sterlings. Now she had to swallow her pride and beg for peace. I'm not going. She pouted, though her resolve was crumbling. Mom is right. Even if I don't like him, his family is insanely rich. Meanwhile, the most expensive gift Tristan ever bought me was a 5 drugstore eyebrow pencil. Tristan always promised, when I'm famous, I'll give you the world. But aside from that 5 pencil, he hadn't done a single practical thing. If Chloe hadn't used the Sterling family's connections to get him onto a talent show, he'd still be singing for tips at a dive bar. That woman had latched onto me and the Sterling resources, and she definitely wouldn't let go easily. In the living room, Richard Vance had been pacing for half an hour. He couldn't take it anymore. He knocked on the door. "Are you two done talking, Chloe?" "I'm sorry," I yelled, "but our family truly can't hold on much longer. If you don't care about us, at least think about yourself. If you're no longer the Vance family heiress, do you really think that little singer will still want you?" "Dad, mind your own business," Chloe yelled back. At the dinner table, Chloe mumbled reluctantly, "Sorry." Richard glared at her. "You should be saying that to Arthur. I'm about to be sleeping on the streets. I don't have the patience for your princess syndrome anymore." Margaret tried to mediate. "All right, Richard." Chloe has thought it through. Once she apologizes to Arthur, everything will be fixed. The Sterlings are billionaires. Even their table scraps will keep us fed. But in Chloe's mind, a quiet voice whispered, "If I actually lower myself to apologize, will he really forgive me like before?" Richard frowned. "You were supposed to be the young madam of the Sterling family. You could have had everything. The whole family was counting on you. But you had to go crazy at the wedding and turn us into a laughingstock. I've burned off all my dignity begging for help. Do you want me to get on my knees and beg you to save us?" Bang! Richard slammed his hand on the table. "Do you two think our current life is still comfortable? Do you know we still owe the Sterlings $10 million for the bride price? Do you think we don't have to pay that back? And the mortgage on this multi-million-dollar mansion? Can we even afford the monthly payments?" Furious, Richard stormed away from the table, having completely lost his appetite. Reality finally crashed down on Chloe. Reluctantly, she dialed my number. The phone rang for a long time before I picked up. "Hello." My voice was flat, devoid of any emotion. Chloe gripped her phone, her fingers trembling slightly. "Arthur, can we meet? I have something to say to you." "Can't you say it over the phone?" "I am in my office." I was sitting in the CEO's suite on the top floor of the Sterling Tower, looking down at the glittering city lights. "It's very important. It's about us." Chloe's voice carried a subtle tremor of pleading. "Please, just this once." I checked my watch. "Tomorrow at 3 p.m. The coffee shop in my lobby. You have 20 minutes. "Okay, I'll be there." Chloe sighed with massive relief. Margaret leaned in. "Well, did he agree?" "Yeah." Chloe nodded, but her heart was a tangled mess. In the past, one phone call, and ID magically appear. Now she had to beg just for a 20-minute slot. Richard walked out, his expression slightly softer. "Remember, this meeting has only one goal: beg Arthur to spare our family. If possible, get back together with him." "Dad, what more do you want from me?" Chloe frowned. "Do you not know our situation?" Richard said sternly. "The bank is foreclosing on the house tomorrow. If you have a shred of conscience left, think about this family." Chloe bit her lip and stayed silent. Meanwhile, in the CEO's suite of the Sterling Group, I was reviewing files on my computer screen. The file contained Tristan's entire life history, including all his dirty laundry. "Mr. Sterling, here are the documents you requested." James, my assistant, pushed a file folder onto my desk. "We have successfully acquired a 30% in the parent company of Starlight Entertainment, Tristan's agency. Furthermore, the web drama he's currently starring in is funded by a shell company we secretly control." I flipped through the files. "Excellent. What about the Pagani tailing him as instructed?" "We've swapped it out for a normal sedan to continue the surveillance." James reported. "Tristan is highly paranoid right now. He went to the police yesterday claiming someone was trying to kill him. Due to a lack of evidence, they dismissed him as a lunatic. I sneered. Let him stay paranoid. We'll deal the fatal blow when he completely cracks. Understood. James nodded. Also, Penelope Quinn called again asking if you're free for dinner tomorrow. She mentioned her father wants to discuss a corporate partnership. Reject her, I said without looking up. Tell her I'm booked for the week. James looked slightly surprised. But sir, the Quinn family just do as I say. My tone left no room for argument. Yes, sir. James backed out of the room. I stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Living a second life, I knew exactly what kind of snakes these socialite best friends were. Penelope only glued herself to me because she wanted the Sterling Group's resources. In my past life, after the Vance family fell, Penelope was the first to kick them while they were down. In this life, I wanted everyone who harmed the Sterlings to pay the price. That included the rats hiding in the shadows. I picked up my phone and called Uncle Greg. Any progress on the investigation I asked for, young master? We have a lead. Uncle Greg's deep voice came through. 3 years ago, the massive short-selling attack on Sterling stocks definitely originated offshore. We traced one of the intermediary accounts. It belongs to Tristan's cousin. My eyes narrowed. Is that so? However, Tristan himself probably doesn't know. His cousin is an underground financial operator who specializes in laundering dirty money. Uncle Greg explained. We're digging deeper to see who's pulling his strings. Money is no object. I said coldly. I want results. Understood. Hanging up, I fell into deep thought. In my past life, the crisis that hit the Sterling family was sudden and catastrophic. First, a malicious short squeeze. Then the banks simultaneously demanded loan repayments. Next, multiple projects failed at once. My father's hair turned white overnight, and my mother fell severely ill. Though we barely survived, the Sterling Group was crippled and fell out of the top-tier rankings. I always thought it was just brutal corporate competition, but now it seems someone had meticulously orchestrated the whole thing and Tristan's cousin was involved. This was no coincidence. The next day at 3 p.m., Chloe arrived at the coffee shop 10 minutes early. She had carefully done her makeup. And wore the exact white dress I used to love on her. She knew I had a weak spot for her in white. At 3 p.m. sharp, I arrived, but I wasn't alone. James was with me. Chloe's smile stiffened. Arthur, who is this? My assistant, I said, sitting opposite her and checking my watch. You have 19 minutes. Chloe bit her lip. Can we talk in private? No. I replied flatly. James is here to take minutes. Whatever you have to say, spit it out. Chloe gripped her coffee cup so tightly her knuckles turned white. She had never been humiliated like this, but thinking of her family's bankruptcy, she swallowed her pride and forced a smile. Arthur, I came to apologize. What I did at the wedding was impulsive. I shouldn't have said those things. I looked at her blankly. Are you done? Chloe froze. I'm apologizing sincerely. I've thought about it a lot lately. You actually treated me really well. I just didn't appreciate it. 15 minutes. I interrupted her. Her eyes turned red. Arthur, can't you give me another chance? Can we start over? I promise I'll treat you well. You'll be a good wife. I finally looked up at her, my eyes filled with pure mockery. Chloe Vance, do you think I, Arthur Sterling, am a recycling bin for trash? Chloe's face turned completely white. At the wedding, in front of everyone, you said Tristan was 1,000 times better than me. Now that your family is broke, your true love suddenly takes a U-turn right back to me. Do you think I'm stupid, or do you think the Sterling family is easy to bully? No, that's not it. Chloe panicked. I realized I was wrong. I love you. I was just blinded by Tristan. I gave her a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Chloe, how much is your love worth? You sold a $2 million necklace without batting an eye. Now that you're bankrupt, your love for me miraculously regenerates. Fascinating. Chloe was speechless. I stood up. Time's up. James, let's go. Wait. Chloe grabbed my sleeve, tears finally falling. Arthur, please, even if you don't forgive me, please spare the Vance Corporation. My parents are old. They can't handle this. I shook her off. The life and death of your company has nothing to do with me. You pushed your family off the cliff. If you hadn't pulled your funding, if you hadn't shorted our stocks, this wouldn't have happened. She screamed, losing control. I turned around, staring at her with eyes like glaciers. Get this straight in your head. You publicly humiliated the Sterlings. You tore up the marriage contract first. Withdrawing our funds was a standard business decision. As for your other partners dropping you, do you think they did it because they were scared of me, or because they realized your company is actually hot garbage? Chloe was stunned. Your company was an empty shell surviving on sterling life support. I stated coldly. Once I pulled the plug, of course you flatlined. You graduated with a finance degree. Don't tell me you don't understand basic economics. Without another glance, I walked away. James hurried after me. Mr. Sterling, do we proceed with the plan? James asked quietly. Yes. Start acquiring the Vance family's remaining real estate. Lowball them at 30% under market value. Yes, sir. Chloe collapsed into her chair, sobbing uncontrollably. She finally realized the Arthur who used to simp for her was dead. The man walking away was cold, ruthless, and left no room for mercy. And she had brought it entirely upon herself. Her phone rang. It was Tristan. Looking at the screen, she felt a wave of sheer irony. She destroyed her wedding and her family for this man. And what did he do? Used her as a meat shield to beg for mercy. She picked up. Hello. Her voice was hoarse. Chloe, how did it go? Did he agree to stop tailing me? Tristan sounded desperate. Chloe closed her eyes. Tristan, let's break up. Silence hung on the line. Then, Tristan gasped in disbelief. What did you say? I said, let's break up. Chloe repeated. I'm exhausted. Truly exhausted. Chloe, you're joking. Right. Tristan panicked. Did Arthur force you? Did he threaten you? No. Chloe laughed bitterly. It's my decision. Tristan, we've been together for so long. Aside from a $5 eyebrow pencil, what have you ever given me? I fought with my family for you. I humiliated myself begging Arthur for you. And you didn't even have the guts to publicly admit we were together. That's for my career, Tristan defended himself. You know my agency has a strict policy. Enough. Chloe cut him off. I'm sick of hearing it. From now on, we go our separate ways. Chloe, you can't do this, Tristan yelled. I'm coming to see you right now. We need to talk. Don't bother. Chloe hung up and immediately blocked his number. She wiped her tears, stood up, and walked out of the cafe. At the door, she ran into a familiar face, Penelope Quinn, stepping out of a supercar. Seeing Chloe, Penelope raised an eyebrow. Oh, Miss Vance, did you just beg Arthur for mercy? Chloe ignored her and tried to walk past, but Penelope blocked her path. Why the silent treatment? Did he reject you? I told you, ungrateful women like you deserve this. Chloe stopped and glared at her. What are you so smug about? Do you really think Arthur likes you? He's just using you to make me jealous. Make you jealous? Penelope burst out laughing. You think way too highly of yourself, honey. Do you really think you are worth the effort to make jealous anymore? She jingled the car keys in her hand. See this car? Arthur gave it to me yesterday. And this limited edition Hermes bag, also from him. Do you honestly think a billionaire would spend this much money just to spite a woman he doesn't even look at? Chloe's face paled further. Penelope leaned in, dropping her voice. Let me tell you a secret. Arthur treats me wonderfully. He said once my dad's company finalizes our partnership with the Sterlings, we'll officially get engaged. Then, I will be the young madam of the Sterling family. Chloe was trembling with rage. Upset, Penelope gloated. It's a pity. This position was meant for you, but you threw it away like trash. Now it's mine. With a victory sway of her hips, Penelope walked into the cafe. Chloe stood frozen on the sidewalk. Her fingernails dug painfully into her palms. Unwillingness, anger, regret, a toxic cocktail of emotions nearly suffocated her. She called her dad. "Dad, I met with him. And will Clear's throat he help us?" Richard asked urgently. "No," Chloe whispered. He refused. A long silence followed. Then, Richard's exhausted voice came through. "Come home. Pack your things. We're filing for bankruptcy." Tears streamed down Chloe's face. "Dad, I'm so sorry." "It's fate," Richard sighed. "I'm useless. I couldn't protect the family business. Don't blame yourself too much. We'll move into your grandmother's old house in the slums." Hanging up, Chloe stood in the middle of the bustling street. For the first time in her life, she truly understood the meaning of utter despair. 3 days later, Vance Corporation officially declared bankruptcy. All their assets were seized and put up for auction, including their luxurious mansion. "I attended the auction personally, Mr. Sterling," James whispered. "The market value of this mansion is around $2.5 million. We've spoken to the other investors. They won't bid against us." I nodded. "The auction begins." "Starting price, $1.8 million, the auctioneer announced. A few dummy bidders raised their paddles to get the ball rolling. The price slowly crept up to $2 million. Just as the auctioneer was about to drop the hammer, I raised my paddle. $2.1 million. The room went silent. Everyone stared at me. The auctioneer blinked before recovering. $2.1 million going once, $2.1 million going twice, $2.2 million, a random voice shouted. I turned my head. It was a middle-aged man I didn't recognize. James quickly briefed me. "That's Victor Cole. He's in construction materials. Richard Vance scammed him out of some money a while back, so he holds a grudge." I nodded and raised my paddle again. $2.3 million. $2.6 million. The price skyrocketed, quickly passing the $3 million mark. The crowd was bewildered. The mansion was nice, but its max value was $2.5 million. Paying over $3 million was financial stupidity. Victor Cole's face contorted. He only bid to spite the Vance family, even though they weren't here. He never expected me to fight him to the death over it. $3.1 million, I called out calmly. Victor gritted his teeth. $3.2 million, $3.5 million. I instantly jumped the price by 300 grand. The room gasped. Victor Cole finally folded. He glared at me and threw his paddle down. $3.5 million going once, twice, sold. I stood up under the complicated gazes of the crowd and walked over to sign the paperwork. "Mr. Sterling, wasn't that a bit too expensive?" James couldn't help but ask. I smirked. "Not at all. I want this mansion kept exactly as it is. Don't change a single thing. Leave it empty." My eyes grew dark. "When those three are at their absolute lowest, I want them to know who owns their precious home." James shivered slightly. He finally understood that my revenge on the Vance family had only just begun. A week later, Tristan got arrested. Right in the middle of filming a reality TV show, the police dragged him away. The charge, possession and use of forbidden fairy dust. The internet exploded. His agency immediately released a PR statement. "This is a misunderstanding. Tristan is a good boy who only breathes organic air." But then the police dropped the hammer. They found the forbidden fairy dust hidden in his apartment, and his drug test came in his apartment back positive. Game over. Inside the detention center, Tristan was having a meltdown. I didn't inhale anything. I was framed. It was Arthur. Arthur Sterling planted it. He screamed at his lawyer. The lawyer looked at him like he was an idiot. "Mr. Tristan, the evidence is rock solid. You should be thinking about a plea deal, not spinning conspiracy theories." It was Arthur. Tristan grabbed the lawyer's shirt. "Go find Chloe. She can prove it. Arthur has a vendetta against me." The lawyer slapped his hands away. "Do you have any actual proof of that?" Tristan froze. "Proof? Where would he get proof?" The mysterious Pagani disappeared. The cops didn't believe his assassination theory. Now he was a disgraced junkie. Who would believe a word he said? I want to see Chloe, Tristan bawled. She'll help me. The lawyer shook his head. Miss Vance explicitly stated she will not see you. However, she did ask me to pass along a message. What is it? She said, take a long walk off a short pier and rot in hell. Tristan collapsed into his chair, his face gray like ash. Meanwhile, the Vance trio moved into a dilapidated shack in the slums. It was Chloe's grandmother's old house, less than 600 square feet, with peeling paint and rotting furniture. Margaret wiped the dusty table, crying. How did we end up like this, Chloe? How can anyone live in this dump? Chloe cleaned in silence. Richard sat on a broken stool, chain-smoking the cheapest cigarettes he could find. The doorbell rang. Chloe opened it and froze. It was me. Standing behind me were two bodyguards carrying several large cardboard boxes. Arthur, what are you doing here? Chloe asked defensively. I stepped inside, scanning the depressing room, and smiled. Just came to see how you were settling in. Did you come to laugh at us? Richard stood up, his face livid. Well, you've seen it. Are you happy now? It's decent. I nodded. A bit cramped, maybe. Oh, by the way, I bought your old mansion. Paid $3.5 million for it. Richard and Margaret's faces went chalk white. I motioned for the bodyguards to drop the boxes. These are some of your personal items we cleared out of the mansion. Chloe's some jewelry, that sort of thing. Consider it a parting gift. Chloe bit her lip hard. Arthur, what do you want? We're bankrupt. We live in a slum. Haven't you done enough? I looked at her and laughed. Chloe, do you know what your biggest problem is? You think my kindness is a free subscription. I treated you well, and you felt entitled to it. Now that your free trial has expired, you think I've changed, that I'm cruel. But you never once stopped to ask yourself, did you ever deserve that premium treatment? Chloe opened her mouth, but no words came out. Anyway, aside from the delivery, I have news. Tristan got busted for sniffing the forbidden fairy dust. If you still want to play the savior, you might want to hire him a good lawyer. Though, personally, I think it's a lost cause. I turned and walked out. The door clicked shut. Chloe stared at the closed door. Suddenly, she started laughing. Laughing until tears streamed down her face. She wiped them away, her eyes turning frighteningly cold. She walked to the window, watching my car drive away, and clenched her fists. Arthur thrice, while I'm a shrew, I will remember this humiliation. One day, I'll make you regret this. A month later, inside my office, Mr. Sterling, James reported. Chloe Vance has made a move. She applied for a job at an investment firm called Cole Capital last week and got hired. Cole Capital, I repeated. Victor Cole's company. Yes, the backing of Cole Capital is quite complex. The real boss behind the scenes is the Cole family from the capital city. They have a deep-seated grudge against the Sterlings. My eyes narrowed. The Cole family. In my past life, when the Sterlings went under, the Cole family was the biggest beneficiary. I suspected them, but had no proof. Now, Chloe conveniently joined their firm. This was no accident. Keep an eye on her, I ordered. Especially who she contacts and what projects she touches. I want every detail. Understood. Also, Penelope Quinn called again. She wants to arrange a dinner with you and her father to discuss partnerships. I scoffed. Tell her the Sterling Group isn't looking for new partners, and I don't do charity dinners. Yes, sir. I walked to the window. Chloe joining forces with the Cole family. She was moving fast. Her hatred for me must be bone deep. But that's fine. I had all the time in the world to play with them. I wanted to drag every single enemy out of the shadows and crush them in one fell swoop. My phone rang. It was Uncle Greg. Young master, huge breakthrough. Uncle Greg sounded excited. The offshore account that shorted our stocks 3 years ago, it had direct transactions with Cole Capital. Bingo. Are you sure? 100, Uncle Greg confirmed. They hit it well, but we tracked it. Oh, and Tristan's cousin, he was college roommates with a project manager at Cole Capital. All roads led to the Cole family. I finally had them by the tail. Keep digging, I said, my voice low and dangerous. I want the entire blueprint of the Cole family's operations in the city, including every rat they've planted inside the Sterling Group. Understood. I hung up, a cold smirk playing on my lips. The real game was just beginning. Inside the CEO office of Cole Capital, Chloe stood respectfully in front of a desk. Behind it sat Victor Cole, a middle-aged man in gold-rimmed glasses who gave off a slimy, pseudo-intellectual vibe. Miss Vance, I am very impressed with your resume. Victor smiled. Especially your talent in financial management. Though your family has fallen on hard times, I recognize true talent. Thank you, Mr. Cole, Chloe said. I will do my best. Excellent, Victor nodded. I know about your history with Arthur Sterling. Honestly, he went too far. Business is business, but targeting a family like that is ruthless. Chloe's eyes reddened. Thank you for understanding, Mr. Understand. Cole. Victor stood up and walked to the window. The Sterling Group has been the tyrant of this city for too long. It's time someone broke their monopoly. Chloe's heart skipped a beat. Are you saying the Sterlings are heavily investing in a massive new energy project? Victor said. I want you to infiltrate that project team and steal their core technical data. Chloe gasped. Corporate espionage. Don't be so dramatic, Victor chuckled. Think about what Arthur did to you. Think about the slum you live in, Miss Vance. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Succeed, and I will help the Vance family rise from the ashes. Fail, and you'll rot in that shack forever. Chloe clenched her fists. She remembered the auction, Arthur's cold face, her parents' despair. The hatred grew like toxic weeds in her heart. She looked up, her eyes burning. I'll do it, but I have one condition. Name it. When we crush him, I want Arthur Sterling on his knees apologizing to me. Victor laughed out loud. Deal. 3 days later at the Sterling Group's new energy project department, project manager Ray was interviewing a new applicant, Chloe Vance. He frowned at her resume. You're the heiress of the Vance Corporation. I am Chloe Vance, she said calmly. Mr. Ray, I know you might have reservations, but my family is bankrupt. I just need a job to feed my parents. Ray hesitated. Everyone in the company knew the drama between her and the CEO. Hiring her might anger the big boss, but her qualifications were stellar, and she was asking for a fraction of the market salary. Let me ask upper management. Ray said. Go home and wait for a call. Ray went to my office. Mr. Sterling, Chloe Vance applied for a job in the new energy department. What do you think? I looked up, feigning surprise, then smiled. Hire her. Sir, are you sure? Ray was baffled. Put her in a low-level administrative role. I instructed. Give her 80% of the market salary. If she accepts, let her work. After Ray left, James asked, Mr. Sterling, why let her in? She's obviously a spy. I know. I smirked. You use bait to catch fish. Chloe is the bait. I'm going to use her to drag down the entire Cole family. James' eyes widened. Genius. But what if she actually steals the real data she wants? I tapped my desk. Everything was going exactly like my past life. In my previous life, I hired her out of love, and she stole the real data, nearly destroying my family. This time I was handing her a ticking time bomb. A week later, Chloe officially started her job at Sterling Group as a low-level clerk. Her job was boring printing documents, taking meeting minutes, but she endured it. This was step one of her revenge. One day after work, she coincidentally bumped into me in the elevator. It was just the two of us. I didn't even look at her, treating her like absolute air. Chloe gripped her bag tightly. Arthur, I know I was wrong before. I just want to work and earn a living now. I hope you won't make things difficult for me. I smiled politely. Of course, I don't mix personal feelings with business. Just focus on your work and don't get distracted. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. She lowered her head to hide her furious expression. How dare he treat me like a stranger? Just wait until I steal your data. Let's see how arrogant you are then. That night at a high-end private club, Chloe met with Victor Cole. "How's it going?" Victor asked. "I am in, but my position is too low to access core data." Chloe said. "Arthur is very guarded." "No problem." Victor handed her a tiny USB drive. "Plug this into any computer in the project department. It has a hidden program that will let me download the data remotely." Chloe's hands trembled as she took it. This was a felony, but thinking of Arthur's face, she gritted her teeth. "I'll do it." A few days later, during lunch break, Chloe sneaked into an empty office and plugged the USB into a terminal. It took 2 minutes. Her heart pounded out of her chest, but no one saw her. A week later, Victor called her. "We got the data. Come get your reward." They met at a cafe. Victor slid a bank card across the table. 500,000. This is just the down payment. Once we launch the product and crush Sterling, you'll get much more. Chloe took the card. $500,000. It would vastly improve her family's life, but she knew she had crossed the point of no return. "What's next?" she asked. "Stay at Sterling Group and act as our inside woman." Victor said. "When we strike, Arthur won't even have the time to suspect you." Little did Chloe know, sitting at a table in the corner of that very cafe, a man wearing a baseball cap was recording their entire transaction with a hidden camera. Back in my office, James played the video for me. "Mr. Sterling, just as you predicted, she met with Victor Cole. Here is the proof of the transaction." I watched the video with cold, dead eyes. "Did the tech team finish the fake data?" "Yes." James grinned. "It looks 100% authentic, but the core engineering math is completely flawed. If the Cole family builds a product based on this, it'll be a catastrophic failure." "Perfect. Tell our German partners we can begin the real negotiations now. Keep it absolutely classified." "Yes, sir." James practically skipped out of the room. I looked out the window. Victor Cole, Chloe Vance, you think you're playing 4D chess, but you're just pawns on my board. A week later, Cole Capital aggressively announced their entry into the new energy sector, unveiling a product that was suspiciously identical to Sterling Group's highly anticipated project. The industry was shocked. Everyone knew Cole Capital was ripping off Sterling Group, but the Cole family shamelessly launched a massive marketing campaign, claiming their tech was superior and 30% cheaper. Sterling Group stock took a hit. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. "Mr. Sterling, the Cole family is declaring open war," an angry director shouted. "Their product is a carbon copy of ours. We clearly have a mole. We must investigate." I sat at the head of the table, perfectly calm. "Everyone relax." I gestured to James, who dimmed the lights and played the video of Chloe plugging in the USB and getting paid by Victor Cole. "Chloe Vance," a director gasped. "Isn't she?" "Yes, she's the corporate spy planted by the Cole family." I said. "But the data she stole, it was a decoy we prepared specifically for her." The room went dead silent for 3 seconds before erupting in laughter. "Brilliant, Mr. Sterling. You are a genius. They think they stole the Holy Grail, but they just bought a ticket to the Titanic." I raised a hand to quiet them down. "They will manufacture their product based on that flawed data. Once it hits the market, the fatal design flaws will trigger mass recalls. Not only will they lose their investment, but they'll be drowning in class action lawsuits. Meanwhile, we've secretly secured an exclusive patent deal with our German partners. The more Cole Capital bleeds, the richer we get." A thunderous round of applause echoed through the boardroom. The directors looked at me with newfound reverence. The young heir of the Sterling family was far more ruthless and brilliant than they ever imagined. 2 months later, Cole Capital's new energy product hit the market. Victor Cole hosted a massive, flashy press conference. "Our product will revolutionize the industry. Superior tech, lower cost." Sitting in the audience, Chloe felt a mix of anxiety and relief. She had helped make this happen. Soon, she'd get her millions and her revenge. But the victory lap lasted exactly 1 week. Soon, The complaints flooded in. The battery drains in half the advertised time. The charging port overheats. It's a fire hazard. My car broke down after 3 days. The customer service hotlines literally crashed. Social media was a bloodbath of negative reviews. Victor Cole panicked. He ordered his engineers to inspect the product. The result, the core technology they acquired was fundamentally broken. It wasn't advanced. It was a ticking time bomb of engineering failures. How is this possible? Victor screamed, his face pale. We copied Sterling's exact blueprints then. Reality hit him like a freight train. Chloe Vance, the trash panda. She gave me fake data. He immediately called Chloe, but her phone was unreachable. Chloe had seen the news. She knew she was dead meat. She packed a suitcase ready to flee the city. But the moment she stepped out of her cheap motel, 2 burly men grabbed her and threw her into a black van. She was dragged to an abandoned warehouse in the suburbs. Victor Cole was waiting for her, his face twisted in psychotic rage. Chloe, you got a lot of nerve. Victor snarled, stepping closer. You dared to scam me with fake data. Mr. Cole, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was fake. Chloe cried, trembling. Didn't know? Victor sneered. Arthur Sterling is a shark. Did you really think I'd just leave top-secret data lying around for a low-level clerk to steal? Are you actually stupid or just pretending? Chloe's blood ran cold. The truth finally dawned on her. From the very beginning, this was a trap. Arthur hired her specifically to feed the fake data to Cole Capital. She was just a clown dancing on his strings. Arthur, you ruthless bastard, she muttered in horror. Save your breath. Victor growled. Because of your mistake, my company is losing billions. How are you going to pay me back? I don't have money. Chloe sobbed. Please, spare me. Find the money. Victor laughed. You have nothing. Be a good girl, and maybe I'll go easy on you. He reached out to touch her face. Don't touch me. Chloe shoved him away. Feisty. I like it. Victor spat. Lock her in the back room. Let's see how long she lasts without food or water. The goons dragged her into a windowless room and locked the door. Chloe collapsed onto the dirty floor, crying hysterically. She regretted everything. If she hadn't ruined the wedding, she would be Arthur's beloved wife right now. She destroyed her own life. 3 days later in my office, Mr. Sterling, James reported, Cole Capital's products are being mass recalled. Victor Cole is bankrupt and running from creditors. As for Chloe, he's locked her in a warehouse and is trying to force her into being his sugar baby against her will. My eyes turned cold. Those two deserve each other, but let's finish this. Call the police. Hand over the evidence of Chloe's corporate espionage and give them the location of Victor's warehouse. Tell them he's holding a hostage. Yes, sir. I'll prep the car. Do you want to go to the scene? Let's watch the finale. That night, police sirens wailed outside Victor's warehouse. Heavily armed SWAT teams kicked down the doors. Nobody moved. Police the goons were quickly subdued. An officer found Chloe locked in the back room and brought her out in handcuffs. As she was being escorted to a police cruiser, she saw me standing by a black SUV, talking calmly to the police captain. Arthur. Chloe gasped in shock. You saved me. Don't flatter yourself. I said flatly. Did you really think Victor would let you live? I just didn't want your blood on my conscience. Plus, you need to answer for your own crimes. Chloe finally understood. You knew I was stealing the data. You set the trap to destroy the Cole family. I smirked. I told you, Chloe. As long as you did your job, I would bother you. But you couldn't resist, could you? I owe you nothing. When you broke the engagement, I simply withdrew my investment. I didn't attack your family. The free market did. But what did you do? You conspired with my enemy to steal my tech. Do you have any shame at all? Chloe hung her head, tears pouring down her dirty face. I'm sorry, Arthur. I'm so sorry. I know I was wrong. Apologies are useless now. I said, turning away. Tell the police everything. How Victor bribed you. How he orchestrated the theft and how he kidnapped you. It might get you a lighter sentence. Remember, your parents still need you. I opened my car door. Arthur, wait. Just one question, she cried out. If I hadn't gone crazy at the wedding, would you have loved me forever? I stopped, looked back at her, and laughed. Chloe, you still don't get it, do you? I treated you well because I chose to, not because you were special. The moment I stopped caring, you became absolutely nothing to me. Chloe froze. Those words stabbed her right in the heart. I understand now. She smiled a broken, bitter smile. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you for saving me, and thank you for waking me up. I didn't look back as my car drove away into the night. Chloe collapsed to her knees, sobbing her heart out. She had truly lost everything. 1 week later, Coal Capital was raided by the feds. Facing massive lawsuits and criminal charges, the company imploded. Victor Cole was sentenced to prison for corporate espionage and kidnapping. Meanwhile, Sterling Group's authentic new energy product launched to massive critical acclaim, dominating the market. Our stock went to the moon. I officially took over as chairman of the Sterling Group, becoming the youngest billionaire tycoon in the city. At my victory gala, Penelope Quinn tried to slither her way to my side, grabbing my arm. Arthur, congratulations. I knew you would. When I smoothly pulled my arm away, thank you. Arthur, she purred. MS. Quinn, I cut her off. Our business relationship will continue, but our personal relationship ends here. Penelope's face morphed into an ugly scowl. Why am I not good enough? You're fine, I said coldly. We're just not a match. I walked away, leaving Penelope stomping her feet in rage. She had spent all this time trying to gold dig her way into the Sterling family, only to fail miserably. Back in my office, James gave me the final debrief. Mr. Sterling, Chloe cooperated with the authorities. Because the data she stole was technically fake, and she was coerced and kidnapped, she received a suspended sentence. She's moved back to her rural hometown with her parents to live a quiet life. I nodded. Tristan is currently in rehab. His cousin got 10 years in federal prison for money laundering. The Cole family completely abandoned Victor to save themselves. Excellent. I stood by the window, looking at the sprawling city below. All the enemies had been dealt with. Living a second life, I knew exactly what their fatal flaws were. Chloe's vanity, Tristan's cowardice, Victor's greed. Defeating them was almost too easy. But the corporate world is a battlefield, and there will always be new enemies.